The alien space station Obsidian 9 hovered in orbit like a silver web strung across the stars, its sleek design glinting under the light of a nearby pulsar. Docked among the flowing curves of alien vessels, a human freighter named Talon looked like it didn't belong, functional, heavy, and painfully square. Cal Vox adjusted the grip of his powered exosuit around the cargo container slung over his shoulder. The frame hissed quietly with every step he took, its carbon-reinforced limbs mimicking the movements of his own body. Not military grade, but close, just enough to throw starship engine blocks over his head if needed. As he entered the docking corridor, his comm crackled. "Vox, this is Captain Dre. Just drop off the spectroscopic analyzers at Research Section 7. No detours, no chatting up the aliens. You copy?" Cal smirked. "Copy loud and clear. No sightseeing, no sweet-talking." He ran a hand through his messy jet-black hair. "But you know I'm all business, Captain." Dre sighed on the other end. "That's what I'm afraid of." Cal chuckled and stepped into the station's corridor. The walls shimmered with motion-reactive luminescence, adjusting to his human eyes as he walked. Obsidian 9's architecture felt more like organic sculpture than constructed hallways, fluid curves, no harsh angles, and a soft ambient hum that felt more biological than mechanical. His wrist-mounted display pulsed, guiding him to Lab 7, tucked deep in the research ring. As the door whispered open, Cal found himself stepping into a cathedral of strange science. Alien researchers, all lean and tall, hovered over glowing tables of instruments. The scent of charged plasma and sterilization agents hit him first. But one figure drew his attention instantly. She stood alone, examining a floating orb of pulsating indigo light held in place by a shimmering containment field. Her skin was a regal violet, not the iridescent silver of the others. Long, ribbon-like appendages fell from her scalp in place of hair, swaying as if moved by an invisible current. Her build was lithe but powerful, and even beneath the utilitarian lab suit she wore, there was a grace to her presence that made Cal stop mid-step. "Delivery from Earth," he announced, setting the container down. "Spectroscopic analyzers, fresh and unshaken." The woman turned, and Cal locked eyes with her, deep gold irises that shimmered as if lit from within. She wasn't like the other researchers. "You're early," she said, her voice melodic but crisp. "I'm Dr. Sura Nix. I'll verify the shipment." "Cal Vox," he replied with a small bow. "And I'm never early. Everyone else is just late." A faint smile tugged at the corner of her lips. "Is that what humans tell themselves?" "Among other things," he said, nodding toward the glowing sphere. "That doesn't look like your average energy sample." Her posture shifted slightly. "It's a power study. Nothing outside your clearance level, Mr. Vox. Call me Cal. And I've been to 36 research stations. That thing is alive, or close to it." Sura hesitated for a fraction of a second, then handed him the signed manifest. "Your delivery is confirmed. You should return to your ship." Before he could reply, alarms wailed. Scarlet light strobed across the lab as a voice shouted something in an alien dialect. The researchers scattered. "What's happening?" Cal asked, eyes scanning the exits. Sura's eyes locked on the sphere. "Pirates. They've tracked the signal. They're here for..." The doors burst inward, torn from their hinges by plasma blasts. Through the smoke strode 3 Krell warriors, towering reptilian mercenaries clad in armored carapace suits. One barked orders in their guttural tongue. "Secure the core. Kill the rest." Cal didn't hesitate. In one fluid motion, he lunged, grabbed Sura by the waist, and dove behind a reinforced console. Plasma fire sprayed the room. "We need to move," he whispered. "Not without the core," she hissed, pointing to the sphere. "If they take it, everything's lost." "Tell me there's a weapon in this lab," Cal muttered. She fished a palm-sized device from her coat. "EM pulse." Limited range. Might jam their suits. Do it on my mark, Cal said. His suit servos whined in anticipation. 1, 2. Sura tossed the device. A pulse erupted, and the Krell armor froze mid-motion. Cal charged. He slammed into the closest warrior, flinging him through a stack of alloy benches. Another fired wildly, a bolt searing Cal's shoulder. He ignored it, driving his fist into the second Krell's faceplate, shattering it with a sickening crunch. The third, clearly the leader, reached the containment field and deactivated it. The core drifted toward his outstretched claws. No! Cal roared, diving forward. He tackled the Krell, sending both sprawling. The core began to fall. Cal reached out with a desperation born of instinct, catching it midair. To his surprise, it didn't burn or shock him. It hummed. With his exosuit's power fading from the blast damage, Cal did something insane. He ripped the depleted power core from his chest plate and slammed the alien sphere into place. The suit surged. Every cell in his body lit up like a thunderstorm. Time slowed. The Krell leader stood stunned. Cal barely saw him before he struck. One blow, and the beast was unconscious. We have to go. Sura yelled, grabbing his arm. What did I just do? Cal gasped, staring down at the pulsing violet glow now embedded in his chest. Something impossible, she whispered. Now run. They raced through the twisting corridors, alarms blaring behind them. Cal's suit moved with unearthly precision, no delay, no effort. It was as if he had become something more than human. Emergency pods, this way, Sura called, veering down a side hall. We have to reach Arkan's surface. It's the nearest safe zone. They'll come after us, Cal muttered. They won't stop until they get the core, she confirmed, her eyes darkening. No matter how many die in their way. A plasma bolt struck the wall beside them. More Krell, closing fast. Go! Cal shouted, pushing her ahead as he turned to meet the threat. The first enemy lunged, and was caught, mid-air, by Cal's hand. The strength that flowed through him wasn't natural. 1 down. 2. 3. He ran, caught up with Sura just as they reached the bay. The ship rocked from another explosion. She stumbled, and Cal caught her again. Her violet skin was warm beneath his gloves. She looked up at him, eyes wide with a flicker of something unfamiliar, trust. I'm not letting you go, he murmured. Humans and their timing, she muttered, cheeks flushed. They climbed into the pod. Sura activated the launch protocols. Krell ships loomed in orbit as they jettisoned into the void. They're on us, Cal said, gripping the seat as the pod began to tumble. We're going to crash, she whispered, clutching the controls. Then let's crash together, he replied with a grin. The pod streaked toward the orange horizon of Arkan below, desert, fire, and fate waiting for them. The drop through Arkan's upper atmosphere was a roaring chaos of flame, spin, and warning sirens. Sura Nix gripped the pilot controls with both hands, her violet skin bathed in flickering red lights as she fought to stabilize their escape pod. Cal Vox braced himself beside her, arms locked against the walls as the pod shuddered violently. Landing thrusters are fried, Sura shouted, voice tight with panic. We're going down hard. I've had worse, Cal replied, though the blood on his shoulder said otherwise. The core pulsed in his chest plate, vibrant and alive. He felt strength flowing through his limbs, even as the desert surface of Arkan grew larger in the viewport. The pod slammed into the ground. Metal screeched as they skidded across rocks and dunes, kicking up a sandstorm behind them. When they finally came to a brutal, grinding stop against a jagged ridge, the silence was deafening. Cal's vision swam. He blinked, fought off the daze, then turned to Sura. She was slumped in her seat, a metallic shard jutting from her side. No, 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 stay with me, Cal said, unfastening his harness. He knelt beside her, carefully assessing the wound. Purple blood soaked her uniform, thick and shimmering. Metal, punctured my secondary circulatory system, she groaned, her golden eyes unfocused. You need to leave me, Cal. Take the core, Anne. Not happening, he cut her off. You're not dying here. We've got a kid to name after me someday. That's not funny. I wasn't trying to be. Without hesitation, he slid one arm behind her back and the other beneath her legs. She cried out in pain, but he lifted her gently. The exosuit compensated for her weight with ease, servos humming, the core in his chest glowing brighter with every step. The desert outside was brutal. 2 suns hung overhead, bleaching the sand white and making the horizon shimmer like boiling water. Cal stepped out into the furnace, holding Sura close to his chest. Closest outpost, he asked. She stirred faintly. 3 days. Through those mountains. You really know how to pick a crash site. She tried to smile but winced instead. It's illogical. You barely know me. I know enough, he said simply, adjusting her weight. They walked. Cal didn't stop for heat or pain or thirst. The core inside him thrummed, a rhythmic echo against his heart. He wasn't sure where the line between man and machine blurred anymore, but with each mile, his steps felt less human, more elemental. His purpose sharpened to a single point: keep her alive. By late afternoon, the heat was unbearable. The suns baked the sand into a shimmering sheet of fire. Cal trudged on, every step sinking into the dunes. How are you holding up? He asked. Sura opened one eye. Not great. Healing trance isn't working. The core, interfering. Is it hurting you? No. Just, changing the rules. He kept walking. The mountains loomed closer now, jagged spines cutting into the sky. But the air smelled different. Sharper. Metallic. Sura stirred again. Storm coming. Silicate tempest. Microscopic glass in the wind. Shred skin from bone. Cal scanned the desert. I don't see shelter. There, she pointed weakly to a shallow depression in the sand, barely visible. Cal sprinted. The storm front was a wall of amber dust, roaring toward them with terrifying speed. Just as the first razor-sharp gusts began to lash at them, Cal ducked into the depression, finding a narrow passage carved into the earth. The entrance led to a tunnel, low and steep. He carried Sura through the winding dark until it opened into a cavern unlike anything he'd ever seen. Ancient carvings glowed faintly on the smooth walls, illuminated by bioluminescent moss. The chamber was massive, hollowed out by a civilization long gone. Sura's eyes fluttered open. Arvani ruins, she breathed. Lost culture, gone thousands of years. Cal gently lowered her onto the stone floor. Stay still, he said, taking off his jacket to place under her head. She nodded, wincing. The Arvani worshipped the core. Called it the Heart Star. He looked up. The carvings told a story: starfall, the sphere, a civilization rising, then being consumed by power and flame. They were warned, Sura whispered. The core gives life, but takes, too. Balance is everything. Her breathing grew shallow. The shard, it has to come out. I'll do it, Cal said, kneeling beside her. You'll need to cut the suit. He took out his utility blade and sliced the fabric. Her violet skin shimmered with blood, cool to the touch. Ready? Do it. He pulled the shard in one swift motion. Sura cried out, body arching, tendrils flaring in pain. Apply pressure, she hissed. Cal pressed his hand over the wound, and something happened. The core flared. Light surged from his chest, down his arm, and into her. Her blood glowed. The wound slowed its bleeding. Cal felt, something else. Not just her pain. Her mind. Her emotions. Her fear. Her strength. Her memories. I can feel you, he whispered. Her golden eyes met his. So can I. They sat together in the dim light, the desert storm howling above them. Cal made a small fire from ancient roots. He wrapped a blanket around them both, holding her close as her wound began to heal. Why'd you help me? She asked suddenly. You were trying to protect something bigger than yourself, he replied. That matters to me. She studied him. Most humans would have left. I'm not most humans. Later, as the cold of night crept in, their silence grew warmer. Sura's tendrils curled against his neck. The pulse of the core between them beat in harmony with their breath. You feel it too? She asked. Yeah. They didn't speak again that night. Wrapped in the warmth of firelight and shared purpose, Cal Vox held the purple-skinned alien in his arms, no longer just a stranger, but something far more profound. Outside, the storm passed. But inside the chamber, something new had begun. Dawn on Arkan emerged with a sharp, dry wind that swept across the cratered desert outside the ruins. Inside, dim blue bioluminescence still lit the carvings along the walls, but the storm above had passed. Cal woke first. He lay on the stone floor, Sura Nyx still nestled against him, her violet skin soft against his chest, her breathing slow and steady. For a moment, he just watched her, saw how the low light reflected off the curves of her face, the way her tendrils rested peacefully over her forehead. The core pulsed faintly in his chest, warm and quiet, like it too was resting. You're staring, she murmured, eyes still closed. Can you blame me? He said with a tired smile. Is that another human custom? Admiring someone while they sleep? That, and bad jokes before breakfast, he replied, producing 2 crumpled nutrient bars from his belt. She took one with a nod of thanks and slowly sat up. Her movement was careful, and Cal noticed that the wound in her side had sealed considerably, no longer bleeding, though still clearly tender. The core's energy, she said, touching her side. It's speeding up my recovery, more than I expected. Cal's brow furrowed. That good or bad? Unknown. Her tone turned more analytical. The core wasn't designed for this. Its energy is, rewriting my biology. Cal knelt beside her. Do you feel okay? Sura paused, then touched her stomach. I feel, different. Cal followed her gaze, then looked back at her face. Different how? She hesitated, tendrils twitching slightly in uncertainty. Something's happening. Since this morning, there's been a change. A fullness in my body. A sense of, creation. His eyes widened. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I believe, she said slowly, I'm pregnant. The words hit him like a thunderclap. Wait, but that's impossible, he stammered. We're not even the same species. Biologically, genetically. Exactly, she said. But the core has changed those rules. The allure, my people, require months of preparation before reproduction is even possible. But something about the core's energy accelerated the process. Rewrote our compatibility. Amplified biological harmony. Cal blinked. Are you saying, we conceived last night? Sura nodded. I can feel it. The life growing inside me. It's real. He sat down heavily on a stone ledge, running a hand through his hair. I'm gonna be a father. Apparently. For a long moment, they sat in silence, listening to the faint crackle of the dying fire and the occasional hiss of wind above. Then Cal did something unexpected. He laughed. Sura tilted her head. You find this funny? Not funny, he said between breaths. Just, incredible. A week ago, I was moving cargo between trade moons. Now I've got a glowing alien battery in my chest and a hybrid child on the way. It's like the universe handed me a side quest with galaxy-level consequences. Sura cracked a rare smile. Your perspective is uniquely human. He leaned toward her, gently placing a hand over hers on her stomach. There was a faint warmth beneath the fabric of her suit. Not imagined. Not placebo. Real. Are you okay with this? He asked, more serious now. I don't know, she admitted. My people have never experienced this before. A child like this is unprecedented. But I'm not afraid. Her voice softened. Not with you. They embraced quietly. The pulse of the core responded, glowing slightly brighter in Cal's chest, and Sura's tendrils wrapped gently around his shoulders. By midday, they were moving again. Cal carried Sura once more, though she insisted she could walk. He wouldn't hear of it. Now I'm carrying 2 passengers, he joked. As they crossed the dunes, the terrain began to shift. Less sand, more rocky formations, scattered crystalline growths that glinted in the twin suns. Sura remained quiet for much of the journey. Her hand often drifted to her abdomen, her golden eyes reflective, calculating. Cal watched her carefully, his protective instincts growing stronger with every step. Around late afternoon, they crested a ridge overlooking a cracked plateau. There, she said, pointing. The outpost is on the other side of that ridge. If we make good time, we'll reach it by nightfall. Cal nodded. But even as they moved forward, something felt off. You're quiet, he said. Sura hesitated. The core's energy is increasing inside me. I think, the child is drawing from it. Rapidly. Cal stopped. Is that dangerous? It's unknown, she said again. But I can feel the pace of growth accelerating. This isn't normal, even by Allure standards. Cal frowned. He could see her strength waning again. Her breaths came harder. Her skin looked more strained, like the energy inside her was outpacing her body's ability to adapt. He adjusted his grip on her, pressing forward faster. By late afternoon, the first signs of the outpost appeared, low domed structures nestled against the mountain's edge. But something was wrong. No activity, Cal muttered. It's too quiet. Sura's eyes narrowed. The Krell got here first. His heart sank. Sure enough, a Krell ship sat parked behind the facility's main building, partially obscured by the rock formations. Cal ducked behind a jagged stone wall and crouched. They beat us here. Sura pressed a hand to her abdomen, her lips tightening in pain. We don't have time to wait them out. I need medical help. The child, the energy. I've got you, Cal said. There's always another way in. There are cooling tunnels, she whispered. Beneath the structure. Used to prevent overheating in the labs. He adjusted her in his arms again. Then let's find an entrance. Circling around the outpost under the cover of shadows, Cal located a half-buried access hatch. The sand was hot against his palms as he pried it open. The air inside the tunnel was stale but cooler, blessedly shaded. He climbed down the ladder with Sura on his back. The tunnels were narrow, lined with old tech and temperature regulators. He activated his night vision, illuminating conduits that glowed faint red. Follow the red lines, Sura whispered weakly. They lead to the central hub. From there, medical wing is just above. They moved carefully through the dark. Krell voices echoed distantly above. Boots stomped overhead, guards patrolling. The station wasn't just occupied. It was under military lockdown. This wasn't random, Cal murmured. They knew what was here. Someone betrayed the project, Sura agreed weakly. They knew about the core, and they knew I had it. At last, they reached a vertical shaft with a ladder leading up. Cal looked up, then down at her. I've carried you across a desert, he said. What's a few more rungs? He climbed the shaft, her arms looped around his neck. At the top, he eased open a ceiling panel and emerged into a darkened storage room filled with medical supplies. Sura's body was limp now, her breathing shallow. He found an examination table and gently laid her on it. Tell me what you need, he said. Cellular stabilizer, she rasped. Cold storage. Blue vial. And a scanner. Cal darted to the cold unit, retrieving the requested supplies. As he turned, a voice behind him said, "Don't move." He froze, hands instinctively shifting to his weapon. "I'm not Krell," the voice continued. "My name is Dr. Raylon Holt. I've been hiding since the attack." Cal turned slowly. The man was human, mid-50s, wearing a lab coat smudged with dirt and dust. He held no weapon, only a scanner in his hands. "I saw your entry through the maintenance grid," Holt said. "I've been tracking movement, waiting, hoping someone would come." Cal pointed to Sura. "She's dying. The baby too. Can you help?" Holt's eyes widened as he saw the glow of the core in Cal's chest, and the noticeable curve now rising beneath Sura's uniform. "Oh stars," he whispered. "You brought the heart star, and something far more." He rushed over and activated his scanner. After a few tense moments, he looked up, his face pale. "This pregnancy isn't just hybrid. It's accelerated. The core's energy is pushing growth at a speed no system can withstand. Can you stop it?" "I can stabilize it. Maybe. But we'll need to make a choice, and quickly." Outside the door, the sound of heavy Krell boots echoed down the corridor. Time had run out. The medical bay door hissed shut behind Dr. Raylon Holt as he secured the lock. Outside, the guttural chatter of Krell patrols reverberated down the corridor, growing louder. Inside, the air buzzed with urgency. "She's not going to make it," Holt said grimly, running the scanner over Sura's trembling form. "Her body's collapsing under the energy strain. The child is feeding directly from the core's signature. It's growing too fast." Sura's violet skin had lost its luster, now faint and pale. Her golden eyes barely opened. "Cal," she whispered, her hand reaching weakly toward him. Cal grabbed it instantly, kneeling beside her. "I'm here. You're going to be okay. Just hold on." Holt's eyes flicked to the core pulsing in Cal's chest plate. "It's not just powering your suit anymore. It's merged with your biology. Removing it could kill you." Cal didn't blink. "But it could save her. Maybe." The Arvani didn't just use the core as a battery. They used it to reshape biology, heal, evolve, preserve life itself. If we transfer the core's remaining energy into her, it might stabilize both her and the child. "Do it," Cal said without hesitation. Sura shook her head weakly. "No. You can't. Cal, if the core is gone, what happens to you?" "I don't care. You could die." He looked into her eyes. "You and the baby are everything now. You think I'm walking away from that?" Tears welled in her golden eyes as she squeezed his hand. Holt interrupted, voice tense. "If we're doing this, we have to act now. I need 30 seconds to interface with your suit and reroute the core's output." Cal nodded and stood, his body already weakening as if it sensed what was about to happen. The door banged again. "Someone's coming," Holt warned. Cal stepped between the door and the medical bed. "Then I'll buy you time." Holt activated the interface, and the core glowed blindingly bright, its energy surging through Cal's body one last time. The door burst open. The Krell commander stormed in, plasma rifle raised. His armor was scorched from the desert journey, his eyes burning with fury. "Give me the core," he snarled. "You're too late," Cal said, his voice like steel. "It's not yours to take." The Krell fired. Cal moved, faster than he had any right to. His last surge of energy sent him colliding with the commander before the blast landed. They crashed into a row of storage units, toppling shelves. Cal threw a punch with all the strength he had left, shattering the alien's helmet. Sparks flew. Screams followed. But the power was leaving him. The core flickered, then dimmed, its pulse slowing like a dying heartbeat. Holt shouted from behind. "I've got it. Energy's flowing into her now." Cal felt his legs give out. He collapsed to his knees, vision swimming. Behind him, Sura's body arched as the core's energy surged through her. A glowing wave of blue-violet light spread across her skin, her eyes flaring with radiant light. The child within her pulsed in harmony. The Krell commander stood again, disoriented but alive. He aimed his rifle at Sura, growling. "If I can't have the core, then no one." Cal launched himself forward one last time, slamming into the commander and knocking the rifle aside. A shot rang out, singeing the wall just inches from Sura. Then the core exploded. Not in flame, but in light. A burst of radiant energy flooded the room, sweeping outward like a tidal wave. It struck the Krell first. The commander screamed as his armor short-circuited and his limbs went limp. The other warriors behind him collapsed as the pulse overloaded their nervous systems. One by one, they dropped, unconscious. Cal collapsed too. His world went silent. Light returned slowly, like dawn breaking beneath water. He awoke on a soft bed, wrapped in sterile white sheets. The ceiling above him was bright but not blinding. Cool air kissed his face. Then he felt it, her hand in his. He turned his head. Sura sat beside him, her purple skin radiant, her golden eyes filled with awe and warmth. Her tendrils danced lightly across her shoulders. "You're awake," she whispered, voice thick with emotion. Cal blinked, then looked down at himself. The exo-suit was gone. His chest plate, bare. No core. But strange, faint lines of glowing energy danced just beneath his skin, tracing along his arms and neck like living tattoos. "What happened?" he asked, voice hoarse. Sura leaned forward, placing his hand on her belly. It was round and solid, and the pulse beneath it was steady and strong. "You saved us," she said. "The core didn't just vanish. It changed. It gave itself to me. To our child. And a piece of it stayed in you. You're both okay." "More than okay," she said, smiling. "Our child is stable. The pregnancy will complete normally, well, allure human normal, which still means another 2 months." Cal felt a faint flutter beneath his palm, a soft kick. Emotion hit him like a landslide. Dr. Holt entered the room, carrying a tablet. "You're a medical anomaly," he said, smiling. "The energy signature in your cells has fundamentally altered your physiology. Enhanced reflexes, accelerated healing, possible longevity. We don't know the full extent yet." "I'm part core now?" Cal asked. "Not exactly," Holt said. "But you're something new." Cal sat up slowly, eyes locking on Sura. "And the Krell?" "Neutralized. Galactic Patrol arrived 2 days ago, took them into custody. The core's energy knocked them out cold, and erased all their stolen data." He turned to leave, but paused in the doorway. "By the way, there's talk of medals. Commendations. Maybe even a scientific council appointment for you both." "I didn't do this for medals," Cal said, eyes still on Sura. "I just didn't want to lose her." When they were alone again, she leaned in and pressed her forehead to his. A soft gesture, quiet, deeply intimate. "I didn't want to lose you either." Days passed. Sura's health stabilized. The child grew steadily, monitored by Holt and the returning medtechs. The outpost was secured. But the bond between Cal and Sura only grew deeper. One night, sitting under the artificial stars of the outpost's biodome, Cal asked quietly, "So what happens now?" "We have options," she said. "The Galactic Science Council wants to study us, understand the hybrid effects, the energy transfer. They're offering research positions." Cal exhaled. "Sounds like the start of a long lecture series." "Or," she said softly, taking his hand, "we disappear. Find a quiet world. Raise our child in peace." He watched the light reflect in her golden eyes. "What do you want?" She touched the faintly glowing lines on his arm. "I want to understand what we've become. I want our child to grow up knowing the truth of what brought us together. The core chose us, for something." Cal kissed her forehead, then her lips. "Whatever we choose, we do it together." Sura smiled, tendrils gently curling in contentment. Together. Outside, the twin suns of Arkan sank below the jagged horizon. The sky filled with stars, and somewhere beyond them, the memory of the core drifted in silence, its legacy not extinguished, but reborn in them. And in the life yet to come. So, what started as a routine cargo delivery ended up rewriting the laws of biology, energy, and maybe even fate itself. Cal Vox, once just a guy in an exo-suit, became something extraordinary, not because he found power, but because he chose love, sacrifice, and the will to protect what mattered most. Sura Nix, a brilliant alien scientist with violet skin and a fierce heart, risked everything to keep the core out of the wrong hands. And together? They didn't just survive a crash, a desert, and a Krell invasion, they created something new. A hybrid child. A bridge between species. And a future that no one could have predicted. The energy of the core may be gone, but its legacy lives on. In their child. In the bond that defied science. And in every choice they made, right until the end. Stories like this remind us that love, courage, and determination can be more powerful than any ancient artifact. That no matter how alien the world may seem, what brings us together is universal. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow sci-fi lovers. Seriously, hit that button, it helps us keep creating epic tales like this one. Until next time, keep watching the stars. And remember, the next great story might be one step, one decision, or one desert crash away. Fire Alien Blue Heart. Thanks for watching.